everybody. Welcome to another edition of the SoCal Prep Report. I'm Richard Stray along with Mo, or actually this is Bob Gibson. But Bob Gibson, Mo Moore standing by. Sorry, Mo, but Bob's out there. What'd you do? Did you give him a Nancy Kerrigan?
Oh, no. How you feeling after that knee surgery right there?
It's good, man. It feels really good. I'm just rehabbing now, brother.
Rehabbing?
I'll be back. I'll be in the Super Bowl this year. I'll be ready to play, brother. They can't hold me out very long. It's the way it is when you're rehabbing bad wheels, but mine's getting better.
All right.
Anyways, thanks for joining us, Mo. I'm glad you came in today, man.
Anytime.
You know Bob's slacking. Bob slacks a lot, everybody. Y'all know how Bob is.
I'm surprised he gave me a call and asked me to come in and fill in today for, he's out doing something. Who knows? Playing the lottery.
Bob doesn't do anything, man. He just hangs out. But all right, enough of the nonsense. Let's get right to it. Baseball top 10. Let's take a look and see what's going on in baseball right now because that is the hot tip. It's kind of the dog days, as they say right now, because there's no playoffs except with esports. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Here's the baseball top 10 there, Mo. Huntington Beach, Harvard Westlake, Orange Lutheran, La Mirada in the 4th spot, Servite, Miracosta, El Toro, Beckman, Capel Valley, Palm Desert. Hold it there, fellas. We're going to talk about it now.
So what I heard today is that Servite had a huge win over Olu. They're kind of making their way in the Trinity League right now. You know, Huntington Beach number 1, of course, Harvard Westlake number 2, Orange Lutheran number 3, La Mirada at 4, and then Servite at number 5. We're going to round off the top 10 with Miracosta at number 6, El Toro at number 7, Beckman number 8, Capistrano Valley, and then Palm Desert finally made their way in to crack the top 10.
Now, you weren't here last week. You were, of course, in Vegas coaching basketball. Got the big tournaments out there. But last week it came out that Orange Lutheran, Servite are two teams in the Trinity League. Trinity League's the toughest league in the nation, according to Max Preps.
They are.
They do all the math on it. They know exactly what they're talking about. They follow this stuff day and night. And so you have two now, but it's the toughest league. Now, Jay Sarah's going to creep in there somehow. These guys just all beat each other up, and Modern Day's not even a factor this year, but they are because all of a sudden they get into league and they're starting to whoop on people. But where was all that before, man?
That's what's important. It's about league. Everything else doesn't matter. Servite right now is playing Olu.
Right.
They start at 7 o'clock, and then Jay Sarah's playing Modern Day today.
Well, of course, they're both going to play twice because they are in league. There's another week and a half to go before the playoffs begin. So they got to met all this out. But going to be a lot of funky stuff going on in baseball because remember, once you get in league, you start playing your league rivals. And they know you better than anybody. Matter of fact, you guys are probably little leaguers together at some point and so forth and so on, pony, whatever. And so you know each other pretty good. So it really is tough sometimes once you get into league to beat your league rivals. I don't care how good you are. And that's evidence this week when we look at the national polls. I'm going to tell you real quick, don't show the national polls yet, but when we get to them, you'll see that Johnson of San Antonio, Texas, undefeated all year. They get in the league, and what happens? Their biggest league rival beats them.
Well,
sometimes beat them twice.
Sometimes you're playing the coach and you're not even playing the team.
Yep.
You know the coach's tendencies. Once you start to know their tendencies and things they might do, you might be the worst person in your league, and you'll turn around and then beat the team that is ranked number 1.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to the softball now. Take a quick look and see what's going on here. Remember, again, you're getting in the league now, and people know you. Olu, Losal, Gar, top 3, and Norco, number 4. Pretty much those 4, with the exception of Gar, it hasn't changed much, but Gar just crept up, man. And Modern Day's been playing some good softballs.
Modern Day playing some really good softball. They actually beat Orange Lutheran this week, which won't affect Orange Lutheran in any way because they're still going to be at the top spot. Rounded out by Chinos, Los Altos, ML King, Santa Margarita, and Great Oak.
Right on. All right, looking tough there. I think it's going to stay either Losal or Orange, one or the other, because when we see the national polls, you're going to see where these guys sit. But, man, there's some great ball being played out here.
Awesome.
And they play each other a lot. You got to give them credit. There's just a lot of games going on. Nobody ducks anybody in the top 5 or 6. Actually, there's top 10.
Well, I think it's something in the water. I think it's something in the water over there at Orange Lutheran. You know, look at their men's team and now their girls' team. Must be something in the water.
You know what? Same thing happens with Modern Day. You see their basketball team going deep into the playoffs. Both basketball teams go. You know, now we're seeing it at Rolling Hills Prep, where both basketball teams go deep. And I mean, they just have good programs, and they marry each other. They may even work out together. Who knows? I've heard of that. No, I've heard of that.
Maybe.
Bray used to do it back in the day. So, and Katani, formerly of Westchester, now of Rolling Hills Prep. I mean, they work out together over there. So it's no wonder that they're doing such a good job, and those teams both get to the finals. But there is a look at your top 10. Again, everybody's in league now. Don't be surprised if somebody gets beat. Doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they got beat this week. That's all.
So some stuff might change. Some stuff might really change over the next week.
Some of these knuckleheads in these polls, man, a team goes all season long, they finally lose a game, and right away they got to throw them down 5 notches. It's like, no, wait a minute. The other team you're putting above them has 3 or 4 losses. Why are you doing it now? Because it's late in the season? Get out of here.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to say something about our SoCal Prep Report.
Go ahead.
Top 10.
You say
right
it.
Here.
You say it.
This is the most valuable top 10 in the nation.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
And you'll see it in a minute here. We're going to get to the nation's top 10 in a second here. Right now, we're going to go to the city section report with Randy Rosenblum.
To no one's surprise, the dynasty continues in boys tennis in the LA City section as Palisades wins the crown again, this time in the Open Division for 2018 over Granada Hills, who they've beaten 3 times in a row in the finals. A little tighter score this year, 17-12.5. Got to feel bad for the Highlanders, always the runner-up. But for the Dolphins, this marks 10 straight championships at the highest level. And for head coach Bud Kling, he has 26 titles overall on the boys' side and 18 on the girls' side for a total, get this, what a number, 44 championships for Bud Kling in his years of service at Powlett. Now, the last champion other than the Dolphins in the LA City section was Taft back in 2008. Baseball, I'm not sure who the top team in the LA City section is. For a while, I thought it was Birmingham, the defending champs. I thought El Camino Real could be the top team. There's been others. Cleveland was very good early. They kind of fell off. And then I thought Kennedy might be the best team. Those 2 teams met this weekend, and Kennedy lost to Cleveland 2-1. So a nice job by the Cavaliers there. Birmingham bounces back with a nice 7-1 victory over San Fernando. The Patriots scored 6 runs in the 7th. Daniel Gamboa's 2-run double broke the tie in the final frame. Maybe the hottest team in the city is the Carson Colts. They've won 7 straight, including a victory over Birmingham. You know, the last team outside the San Fernando Valley to win a title was San Pedro back in 1992 when they beat Sun Valley Poly 6-3. Get this, no team in this century, the 21st century, has won an LA City section upper division baseball title. You know, there's a good team at Dorsey led by Kyle LaFlora. He's their shortstop, and he is committed to Tuskegee University. LaFlora has a 3.8 GPA. He's a great student athlete. He's their captain, and he's been very good as Dorsey now occupies the top spot in the Coliseum League. They had a big win last week, 10-0 over Fremont. Carson's softball team was also impressive this week with a 10-0 victory in the Marine League. This is a vaunted offensive attack that Carson has in softball. They scored 5 runs in the 2nd inning. Ashley Wees throws a 2-hitter, strikes out 9. Colts overall had 16 hits in the game. In volleyball, terrific effort by Chatsworth getting by Granada Hills in 5 sets. They split the 2 matches, both matches going 5. Look for Chatsworth to be the number 2 seed in the tournament. They'll be behind Palisades, who's the number 1 ranked team in the LA City section. Also in volleyball, congrats to Greg Pond, the 6'6" middle blocker at Verdugo Hills. Pond becomes the first player in Don's history to go over 1,000 kills in his career. The Dons are ranked number 1 in Division II. They're unbeaten in the East Valley League. You know, last week we talked about the schedule of Narbonne, the Open Division champions in football, and how strong it was and how it'll prepare them next year to try to go for a 5th city title in a row. Well, the D1 champions out at San Fernando, they've upped their schedule as well. They have a tough game to open it early at Alamany. Then they got to go to Canyon. They have the rematch of the Division I final with Dorsey. They beat Dorsey 29-21 in the championship last year. They have them at home. They also have Notre Dame of Sherman Oaks at home, and their rivalry game with Sylmar on October 19th. That is a grueling schedule for Robert Garcia's team, but I think this Tiger team is good enough next year to win a lot of those games and go to the Open Division championships. And finally, El Camino Real is the U.S. Academic Decathlon champion. You know, they won the LAUSD title in February. And in the 37-year lifespan of this event, El Camino now has won the national tournament 7 times. Their last victory was in 2014, and now they get the 2018 championship. And speaking of intelligence, let's go back to the smart guys, Rich and Bob.
He was great, man. Fantastic player. All right. Thank you very much, Randy. Appreciate the report. Let's thank our sponsors right now. I'd like to thank, of course, the Yard House in Brea for being a sponsor of the program. There's the address there. It's on South Brea Boulevard. Give them a call or get online at theyardhouse.com and give it a look, see what's going on. That's the place to go, Mo.
Yeah, I think they should actually call that number and make some reservations for the holidays and graduations.
That's exactly what I was just thinking right now. You took the words right out of my mouth. All right, that's the Yard House in Brea. I'd like to thank them for their contribution. Of course, the KM3 Project. Get on their website, km3project.org. This is an organization that helps people live with cancer. I mean, there's a lot of people out there with an affliction like that. I mean, you know, cancer's rampant, man. Everybody's been touched by it. Yeah. These people actually help people by helping them out with financially when they can't work. You know how that's just got to be devastating. If you're at a job and you don't have insurance that's going to carry you over while you're trying to get over fighting cancer.
Sometimes you wonder where the money goes. That money goes
straight to the fans, boy. Forget the what is it? The old research, man. That money never goes anywhere. They figured out what it is, and they don't let anybody know, man. They hide it. So give it to the people directly. Help them live while they are battling this affliction. So, all right, where are we going now? We're going to Carlos. Oh, no. Before we go to Carlos, we got to talk about the band. I've been waiting for you to come because Bob knows nothing. Bob knows nothing about the band, okay? Anyways, real quick, CIF State finally did adopt the resolution where they stated that if you're a high school team and you are not participating in your state playoffs, that's because you're not attached to a league, all right? So they won't be able to play California teams after the 2019 season, okay? So Mater Dei still gets to play IMG Academy. Now, what they're talking about basically here, Mo, is the fact that at the IMG Academy, like I mentioned before, they're more interested in football in your 440 time, not your GPA or your SATs. They have nothing to do with it. Just get eligible enough and come play. Now, they'll deny it, but we all know better.
Yeah, I think it might be like the combine.
Yeah.
It's the high school combine. I'm looking forward to the game. I've already bought my ticket and ready to go. I'm going to go down to Florida to see Mater Dei take on this team. It should be something pretty good to see. You know, I don't know if it's fair that they don't get to play somebody. Who they going to play? They're just going to play teams like that?
They played 8 ball games, and again, other teams just won't schedule them. I mean, why bother? I mean, we talk about all the recruiting that goes on here in Southern California. Well, and in the nation, it's on steroids. You got these teams like IMG Academy. You have Oak Hill. We all know Oak Hill Academy. You live on campus there, man. How can that be a high school, right?
Yeah.
And also, you know, Finley Prep. We all know about Bowl. Got a better shoe deal.
He got a better shoe deal in high school.
He got a better deal in high school, man. And went for Vegas, like his 3rd high school in like a year or something like that.
That's true.
So, anyways, the banner's in place now. How's that going to affect it? Well, it's going to affect those teams quite a bit because they do come to Southern California to play in our basketball tournaments and wanting to play football games now, and it's not going to be available to them anymore.
Well, I just don't think it's going to be something for them. It's going to affect them in a lot of different ways to where it's recruiting, because some high-profile kids are not going to want to go to those schools if they're not able to compete in high-profile tournaments.
Absolutely. So it's going to affect everybody. California is where all the national champions end up at some point, at least in basketball and football. It's been the case lately. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on this thing. Like I said, I think it's a good thing. I think it's good because, you know, you have these guys that we're only using the IMG Academy because we know they're coming here next September to play Mater Dei. So it is timely, and they're both ranked 1 and 2 coming into the season upcoming. That's where the rankings are. So it's a good ball game to see. But again, one team. I don't want to say Mater Dei's underdog in this one because they recruit just as much probably as IMG Academy. They're a private school. They
might get some alumni to come back and suit up.
I might need it too. All right, where we go now, fellas? Let's see what we have here.
Oh, see Carlos?
We're going to go to Carlos now. Right? Carlos Peña.
Hi, folks, and welcome to this week's SoCal Prep Report. I'm Carlos Peña, and today I'm bringing you updates from the High Desert. Let's get started with the Desert Sky League softball overall standings. Looking at the Desert Sky Leagues, and Victor Valley Jackrabbits are on top for now, but Adelanto is poised to take that spot. Now, Victor Valley still has to face Silverado twice, and they're a tough squad. The Saints have a very good defense, and they're led by center fielder Kiara Hicks. She has size, 5'10", can go yard, and also has a cannon of an arm. Look for her in the future. Moving along to the Mojave League and their overall standings. Now, Oak Hills is solid in both league and overall, but Sultana and Hesperia are chasing them down. Now, Oak Hills still has to face Serrano, Hesperia, and Apple Valley to finish their season. that's a tough finish for them. And finally, we move on to the Cross Valley League, and what a mess we have. If you recall, last week I told you this is a very competitive league. Now, Excelsior has taken 2 straight losses, but somehow managed to stay in their spot. Big Bear is still looking solid. Now, the real battles in the lower brackets as Silver Valley and Riverside Prep both dropped. AAE and Cobalt moved up. Now, Rich, Bob, Big Bear has very tough. They have a target on their back as both Excelsior and AAE both need wins over them. Moving on to baseball, let's start off with the Desert League and the overall standings. Silverado took a loss to Victor Valley recently, but still has a top spot. They're led by Jonathan Carlos and Antonio Olmos, both with 6 wins under their belt as pitchers. Victor Valley is 12-10 in the season, Barstow 7-10. Adelanto and Granite Hill finished the group in the league. Moving on to the Mojave League, and look at these teams. Apple Valley looking strong. They have a very solid fielding percentage of 934. They just need to get their offense up to par. Oak Hills is second. They take on Hesperia this week. Serrano, Burroughs, and Sultana finishing that list. And finally, the mighty Cross Valley League. If you remember, Excelsior in league play is on top. But as we look at this overall standing, University Prep is on top of this list. This league will have several changes at the top before we get to playoffs. Keep your eye on Big Bear as they're quietly sitting in the middle and moving up in Division 6. Their team batting average, 445. Caden Brannock helping the Bears with 27 RBIs and a 589 batting average. Rich, Bob, that concludes my report from the high desert. Back to you in the studio. I hear JCPenney's having a sale on suits. You might want to go check it out. See you next week.
Man, he's talking to Bob because he said Bob. Yeah, he's talking to me. Come on, man.
Look how clean I look.
Yeah,
Let's get it right.
I told you. You must have heard me say, "Hi, this is Rich and this is Bob." Welcome. All right, thank you very much, Carlos Pena, talking to us from the high desert. Now let's talk to Jim Arnold. Jim Arnold, the golf coach over at California High School. It's apropos having Jim on this week because we all know everybody saw the that bad goose, my brother, Mother Goose, taking him on. Jimmy, how you doing tonight? Hey, Jim.
How you doing, Rich? How's it going?
We're doing great. Of course, Jim Arnold, he's a golf coach over at Cal High. This guy actually coached football, too. Jack of all trades. Mo.
And football.
And football. So, Jim, tell us, you must have seen that article today about the goose taking on the golfer and the golfer lost, man. And now, Jim, you've been golfing a long time. Tell us about the hazards that you guys face out there on a golf course typically. I've seen geese go after people, but not like this. This goose had it in for this dude.
Yeah, I think it was kind of protecting his nest. They can be pretty vicious.
Yeah, they can. So what have you seen out there, Jim? Anybody get pushed in the drink?
Yeah, no, not really. I've seen deer every once in a while come after people, but the geese seem to be the most aggressive.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe they can't play golf very well and they're pissed off. Who knows?
I don't doubt it, man. I don't doubt it. I'll tell you, I kind of wish there was video of this guy because I have seen geese attack people before many times, but this was the worst one I've seen, even in pictures. You know, that's what it was, a photograph, but it was still pretty good. I loved it. I got to enjoy that.
Yeah, it's pretty vicious. The kid tripped and turned upside down. That geese was going to finish him off.
He was actually goosed. I actually saw that.
Yeah, there you go.
You heard that.
What?
You did not say that.
Well, I had the opportunity,
Now,
so I took it.
I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway because we live on the edge here. But Larry David had a series one time, and he had the segment was about golfing, and this wild goose came out and came to attack him, and he hit it with a club, and it just exploded.
I've seen that happen. I've seen kids tee off and actually hit a geese or a duck and actually kill it. Sad thing.
If Randy Johnson can hit a pigeon or a bird pitching, from the mound, I can imagine a golf ball hitting a big old goose. Jim, tell us what's going on with your guys right now at Cal High. What's going on with the golf season? Who's good? Who's bad? What's going on?
In our area, the top dog is right now Lucerna High School. They're going to end up winning our league. Over at the Freeway League, Troy High School's nails. They're very good. They're at state every year. So everybody's kind of wrapping it up right now. We're going to have league prelims, league finals next week. And then from there, the individuals will move on. And the teams are basically set this week, the teams that will move on to CIF. You have the two CIFs, team and individual.
Jim, where are they playing that this year?
I think the individuals will probably be at Skylinks again. It's probably the common place. But it depends on what division you're in. For us, it's Skylinks in Long Beach.
Now, how are you guys doing this year?
I'll be perfectly blunt with you. I always am. We're not a good golf team, but we're young and we got good kids. and we'll be better next year.
Nothing wrong with that. People
Nothing
got to
wrong
learn,
with
right?
that. How many seniors do you have on your team this year?
Only one, so we're only losing one, but we got everybody coming back, but we're still green.
You miss coaching football, Coach?
No pun intended.
You know, I haven't missed
green.
1 second of football, I'll be perfectly honest with you.
How could you say that? How can you say that?
I went from 200 kids to 10. It's way easier.
Yeah, and everybody's got their own equipment. Got to worry about jock straps, mouthpieces, who forgot what, you know? Not to mention all the house. You know, we've been talking on this show every week, Jim, about parents. The meddling seems to be at an all-time high right now. Coaches losing their good coaches, losing their jobs because somebody complained. Are you serious? Really?
How does that work
What's
in
that?
How does that
What's
work in
going
golf?
on?
How does that work for golf to whereas, you know, parents
they
having
know.
an impact?
You know, for us, it's not a big deal. My kids are really not a great golfing community. We don't have a ton of golfers, so we start them raw. But I think there'll be pressure in any sport, no matter what it is. But it's just, like I said, it's just less. There's not as many numbers.
Wow. Well, you know what? Good for you, man. I'd take the easy road, too, towards the end of my career if I could.
Oh, yeah. I'm winding it down.
Nobody will let me go, man.
I got to get you out there and get you playing.
Well, I'm done. Yeah, you know what? I'm ready to go, Coach. Put me in.
I've got a spot tomorrow if you want to play.
All right.
What's the worst handicap that you can have? We're going to give that to Rich.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm rehabbing a knee right now, brother, so you got to cut me some slack here.
Yeah, you've had that knee for about 30 years. Come on.
Actually, it's been 40 since my first surgery, but I had another one, so what are you going to do? Anyways, Coach, hey, listen, I know you guys are going to tear it up. I know you guys are going to end up winning CIF, so I'm not worried about it. I know you're sandbagging everybody out there right now. What you're telling us about your team, not very good. Come on, Arnold. I know better than that.
Yeah, I'm telling you the truth. But, hey, like I said, we're doing the best we can.
All right. Well, obviously you're a better football coach than you are a golf coach, maybe?
Yeah, I am the AD, too, so I should probably fire myself.
All right. Maybe you should, man. All right, Jim, listen, we appreciate your input. I'm glad to hear that everything's kosher on your links, but just be careful you go to Michigan, huh? Those geese out there are vicious.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
They'll tear you up. All right, Jimmy, thank you. Good luck. Continued success, huh?
Okay.
That's Jim Arnold, the golf coach over at Cal High, and Jim's our correspondent when it comes to high school golf. High school golf, pretty much an esoteric type of sport because you can't get in the grandstands and yell and you know, be crazy like you can at football or basketball. You kind of keep your mouth shut and yell Baba Booey or something, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. How do the fans watch that sport if they're not walking the entire time?
You know, they do have a little gallery, I'm sure of it, but it's nothing like the pros, man. I think everybody just kind of kicks back and just watches them tee off, you know.
You know, and speaking real quick, you know, I was actually looking at some of the 7 things that are on golf courses since we went to the Goose and the Gander. I saw 2 black mambas fighting on a golf course.
No, you didn't.
I sure did.
All right. Wasn't Kobe, was it?
I think it was over. Oh, so yes, you actually got it. It was Kobe Bryant.
I was going to say, I know you'd see something like that. All right. Moving on. Carmel High School. All right. Apparently they fired their ladies coach. This is what we're talking with Jim about right now. This is another instance of parents meddling because little Susie or little Johnny's not getting enough playing time. Now, I want to know how these parents know that their kid is the next Rich Estrella or Magic Johnson. How do you know?
When does it become too much? When is it too much?
It's every day now. Every day, you know, good people. Just because somebody didn't get enough playing time, really? I would have been embarrassed when I was a high school athlete if my mom had to come down and yell at my coach or talk to my principal about why I'm not playing. You're not playing probably because you haven't put in enough work. You probably haven't worked as hard as the next guy. That should be your mantra. If you're the guy that's dragging your mom and dad down to the school to complain, maybe you should just work a little bit harder because that's all we had back in the day.
That's all you have. I mean, I am a parent of a high school basketball player. He's a starting point guard at Sage Creek High School. And guess where I sit at the games? Up at the top, and I let the coaches coach and the officials officiate.
But what he's not telling you is this is his kid's 3rd high school in 3 years because he keeps moving around because he's not getting enough playing time.
He's going to end up at modern day.
End up at modern day. But anyways, again, it's just another example of, and the problem was, here's the bad part about it. The principal said, no, we're behind. They told all the parents, we're behind the coach. Don't worry about it. 3 days later, they fired her, and no good excuse. And then it turns out just a couple of players' parents were upset about playing time. Really? Seriously?
It's the same thing.
What happened to learning teamwork, you know, and working together with people? Now it's all about I'm going to the league.
Yeah, well, they do good media training over at Carmel Mountain for the principal to tell them that they're behind their coach, and then 3 days later,
Now let me get you another real quick one in South Carolina. We have former coach at Hemingway High School, basketball coach. This guy this is in 2015-16, takes his team to the finals in the state. You get that? He's there. He's at the big dance. But he's not happy with what's going on at the school. He let the Department of Education know that they're changing grades so students can be eligible for sports, misusing funds and the money. This is all alleged in the lawsuit. And again, he did win from what I'm reading. And there was a couple other things too. So he's not happy. There was also some allegations of sexual harassment on the school, but they covered it up. So this guy obviously wasn't happy. The minute they found out about it, they fired him. Instead of addressing it, talking to the guy, they just fired him. And this guy's great. So it took him 2 years to find a job because you know how it gets out that this guy, and they're not supposed to say nothing in the interviews. They're not supposed to tell anybody. Right. Why was he let go? Well, he's let go because he turned us in because we're cheating.
Well, Rich, I can talk about something that's very local.
Whereas
Kareem Lutheran, they went to state.
Yes, they did.
Won the state final in basketball, and now the coach is no longer there. Speculation. People trying to find out what happened. Haven't come out yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll get some research.
I'm pretty sure somebody didn't get enough playing time. That's what I'm sure of what's going on out there because, you can read article after article after article about this stuff. One thing we didn't add about the other schools out of state that can no longer play in California if they don't participate in their state playoff, parents are actually upset about it because their kid's the next Magic Johnson. You understand that, right? The next Magic, the next Kobe, next Michael. Matter of fact, better than Michael Jordan. Definitely better than LeVar Ball. Oh, you know what I mean?
Probably better than LeVar Ball, but Michael Jordan, that's a big.
Well, these parents, man, they just they're too involved. They need to knock it off. Real quick, want to know what your thoughts are on the NBA maybe doing away with the one and done.
Oh, so I was watching a news broadcast. Condoleezza Rice was out talking about the NBA one and done, and she said that they should just let the NBA should just take them if they're ready to go out and pursue a career and be a professional. Let the NBA take them.
Well, the NBA has a big problem. It's watching some of the high school players that have come straight to the league. We're just looking at Amari Stoudemire, but there's a ton of them. Kevin Garnett.
Yeah. Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, another one that came into the league.
Tracy McGrady.
Out of high school. Yeah. I agree. If they're physically able and they can get a job in the NBA, they should be able to play. But the owners, they got burned. They got stung so many times by taking these kids out of high school that just didn't pan out in the NBA.
Well, they just have to understand if they're going to take a kid that is straight from high school, that they understand that they have a maturation process that's going to take place. And they're not going to come out there and be the next Michael Jordan or the next Kobe Bryant right away. But if you look at history and you look at Kobe Bryant and Tracy McGrady and all these, some Hall of Famers, it takes 20 years, but they can probably get there.
And let's not forget, Kobe Bryant's dad was a former pro, and they also had a team in Italy that was there. So he got a lot of playing time with pros on the court just by going with dad to work.
Well,
he certainly did. Absolutely.
I think it'll work. I think that the NCAA needs to stay. It needs to be college. Those kids need to get the college experience. And if you're trying to pay those kids, then they're working.
I think what's going to happen is the G League is going to be where all the great new players come out of high school are going to go to the G League, and because that's the way the owners want it. I would not invest in a kid out of high school that's unproven. I'd rather spend the money on a guy like, for instance, Kawhi Leonard, who's 25. He's in the league. We know how great he is, right?
Yeah, go Lakers.
It's not taking a chance. It's not taking a chance on him at all.
You're right.
You take Kawhi.
You're right. I would take Kawhi.
All right. Plenty more to talk about. We're going to open up this can of worms more later as we learn more and see what they're going to do. Real quick, there's our social media, the SoCal Prep Report on Facebook, Twitter. I don't know what that one is right there, and the one in the red. You tell me what those are.
That's YouTube.
One's got to be Instagram too, right?
They do. Our marketing team do a very good job with our social media. So follow us.
You can tell I'm not involved in that. You don't even know what those things are. All right, on behalf of Mo Ward, Richard Stracy, and so long for friends here at the SoCal Prep Report. Bob, we hope you get better. Good night, everybody.